Hey everyone, and welcome to Black Moth Radio, where we make working from home work for you, and where every day is Bring Your Kid to Work Day. I'm your host. My name is Robin Bull. For those who don't know me, I am a successful full-time writer and editor from home. And before you ask why you've not heard of me, if I'm so well known and, doing well for myself, that would be because I write the words that you see on the internet. I make you feel all the things and take the actions that website owners want you to take, such as calling their law firm or using a contact form. So, essentially, I am behind the scenes and I make you do things without you realizing someone else is making you do it. And it's a good life. So, what I want to talk about this morning, and this show is recorded on Monday, April 23rd, 2018. I'm going to give you the best advice you could ever get about business. That's right, the very best advice. So, from time to time, my image gets circulated around on Facebook. The image itself is probably, oh gosh, we've owned this house for 2 years. So I would say, yeah, about 2 years old. Because I bought a certain book and I liked the book. I'm not avoiding the name of it or the author's name because I have anything negative to say. So I'll get message requests and friend requests because people think I'm not a real person, like they just made me up. I assure you, I'm very much real. I just demolished my breakfast. So, some ham and eggs just gone last night. My family and I demolished a 2 pound bag of chicken nuggets. So I can assure you, I and along with my family, very much real. So the questions I get asked are if I really use the methods that are in this particular book, and if I would recommend the author's book and other products that this person has. The short answers are yes, I did use and benefit from the methods, and no, I wouldn't necessarily recommend anything besides that one book. That's not because the material is bad, it's because the author does what most of us do, repackage our material to keep selling it. And, I'm not upset about it, I get it. I just think that if you're new to business and you don't have $4,000 to drop on a seminar because, then you're not going to be able to pay your rent, pay your bills, or eat, you shouldn't feel pressured into spending money that you don't have, especially if you have like a $20 way to essentially get the same information. So, after talking with people for some time about my experience, and I did this several times over the weekend, but this isn't the first time. This usually happens every 3 months or so. And people come to me because I'm not in a traditional sales job, although what I do very much means that I have to sell myself and my ability. So, after the conversation about the products, I get asked for my very best piece of business advice. So here it is in the podcast, and it is also up on confessionsfromthecouch.com. The success of your business is directly correlated to your time management skills and your self-discipline. Yeah, I know, those are some fairly dirty words in society, and they seem to have been that way for, a really long time now. But those two concepts separate out people like me who make a living from the comfort of my home. Well, relative comfort. Mother Nature can't decide what she's doing, and although I put up some lovely thermal curtains, I'm cold today. I know, first world problems. Um, People, but that's what makes the difference between people like me who can make it happen and people who say to me, no one can make a living by writing, it's impossible. It's not impossible. It's just that people don't want to take responsibility for themselves and their businesses. At the end of every day, moving your business forward, and there's no such thing as an overnight success, is about self-discipline. It's about taking action and following up and following through. I tell people that outside of regular business hours, you must find when you're most productive and you need to use that time wisely. You need to buckle down and work on your business. So, turn off the TV. Most of you have a DVR anyway. It's not like you can't watch it later. Put down your phone. Turn off the notifications. Work. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is you waste your time on, and that time does add up, it's going to be there later. Yeah, I know. It's not a popular opinion. I get told that a lot. And then you got to ditch the excuses. If you want to be successful, you have to ditch the excuses. This weekend, the most common excuse that I heard is I get distracted easily. Well, congratulations. I mean, you're just like everybody else. Your social media habits have conditioned your brain to expect instant gratification. It's not just social media. You're conditioned that way also because of how easy it is now to get information through the internet. And so we're used to just, looking for something or wanting something, and it's this easy to get it. So the thing is, though, if you want to be successful, you have to ditch the excuses, including the I get distracted easily. You're distracted because you're tired. You're distracted because you're not properly hydrated. You are distracted because you're not getting the right nutrition. And of course, you're distracted because, like most other people, you know, you don't want to work on something because you know it's going to take time and you're impatient. But the longer you allow your project, your goal to just sit there, the less you'll believe that you can do it. So you have to ditch the excuses and just dive in. And if you don't, well, don't tell me that it can't be done because you failed. You're the one that had control over your time. Because I'll just sit here and cry into my paycheck that I earned with the exact same 24 hours in a day that you have. And, I'm a wife and mom, so if I can do it, pretty much anyone can do it. So that's pretty much the best business advice that you're ever going to get, although a lot of people don't like to hear it. And, I can't help that people don't like to hear it. So another question that I get asked a lot is, especially since income it fluctuates, especially in the beginning of your career. So how can you live a good life as a freelancer? So I'm asked, what about managing finances? What's that really like? Do you have someone actually supporting you and paying your bills? I thought I'd treat you guys to an inside look at a few of the ways that we make the finances work. First, no one is supporting me. My income pays most of the bills. Most months, my income pays almost all of the bills. And of course, my husband does work. However, he also devotes a large portion of his time to our youngest, and rightfully so. He has special needs, and that's perfectly fine. Second, I don't have a job outside of the home. I did in the beginning, and that was, oh gosh, we've been married now 5 years. So, 5 years ago, I worked part-time in a law firm and I taught part-time. So, by the way, teaching, even in a technical college, doesn't pay all that well, even if you're teaching legal subjects. So, I guess you could say that for a while I actually had 3 jobs, not counting the responsibilities that come along with being an adult. Freelancing, now, that's what I do. It's all I do. I work anywhere between 3 and 12 hours a day, and I do whatever I need to do to stay on top of my deadlines. So this time of year, in spring, it's closer to the 12-hour a day mark on weekdays and 6 or 7 hours a day on Saturday and Sunday. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what we actually do as far as managing money. We have a realistic budget. Yeah, I know, I used another dirty word, the B word, budget. It's not a dirty word. Your personal budget is an important metric, not just for you as an individual, but also for your business. It shows you what you need to make. It's that simple. When we budget, we keep it realistic and we start with necessities, such as utilities. That includes insurance, of course, electricity, natural gas, internet, whatever. Car payment. We're not the biggest fans in the world of having a car payment, but we have one, and we only have one car, and we wanted to make sure that it was affordable. Groceries. Then, of course, gym fees, which includes Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, going to a regular gym. And, of course, my husband's membership there is free because he's the personal trainer there. So I pay for mine, and, of course, I also go to private yoga. So, believe it or not, that's super affordable as well. It's only like $18 a month. Hulu. It's not a necessity. There's no contract, but we do try to budget for it each and every month. Any specific yearly expenses that are coming up. For example, when my domain is due for renewal. Incidentals, of course, and entertainment, but we're easily entertained, so that doesn't take a lot for us. You may have noticed that I did not mention rent or a house payment, and that's because we were able to buy this house outright with cash. I know a lot of people can't do that, so that's something to keep in mind that you need to include. You may be wondering how in the hell you budget for utilities and other variable expenses. Well, unless you literally just moved out on your own, you have a general idea of how much your utilities are each month. Also, if you've lived in your home, apartment, condo, whatever, for at least a year, contact your electric company, your gas company, and your water company, whatever it is that you pay out of your own pocket. Ask them about averaged billing. But averaged billing is great. Let me start with that because you're going to pay one price for that utility every month. Even if you use more than that or if you use less than that, you're still going to pay that one amount. And that's great. But as a freelancer, one thing you need to keep in mind is that some utility companies, here in my neck of the woods it happens to be OG&E, which is our electric company, they will kick you off averaged billing and make you pay for any overages from the previous months if you're even a day late on your payment. So when you call and talk to them about averaged billing, which really, really can save you some money, especially if you live somewhere where it's super hot in the summer, so you run your air a lot, you can really save some money that way. We eat healthy, and that's actually cheaper than you'd think. We're not like total health nuts. It would be hard for anyone to claim they are a total health nut because there's a new fad diet every time you fucking turn around. But we don't eat a ton of processed foods. By that, I mean we don't buy a lot of Hamburger Helper, prepackaged mac and cheese, and the likes. Yeah, we buy the occasional frozen pizza. Like I said earlier, last night we freaking demolished a 2-pound bag of chicken nuggets. We don't buy things like whole wheat pasta or vegetable based pasta. We've tried them and we just don't like them when they're cooked. And yeah, I'll be the first person to admit it's not always easy to cook from scratch. I may work from home, but I'm tired as fuck at the end of the day, and I start feeling wiped out usually around 2 o'clock my time. But I also know how much better I feel when I'm eating food that isn't crap. Or at least, when I'm not always eating food that's crap. Bull is almost constantly preparing for BJJ tournaments. So yeah, I mean, healthy eating is fairly important in this house. We spend time thinking about what we want to eat during the week. Of course, we're right before IBJJF Dallas, to which we're going, and buying the groceries for Bull wasn't that difficult because he's still cutting weight. So he has a specific meal plan that he uses. I go and get the stuff for that. He preps his own food. But still, we still spend the time thinking about what we're going to do. As far as snacks, it generally consists of fresh fruit, leftovers, vegetables. I buy the spreadable cheese from Laughing Cow. We do things like that. I have a general idea every day of what I'm going to make and either go to the store that day if I don't have everything I need or I get food out of the fridge or freezer right away to let it thaw. And in fact, as soon as I'm done recording this podcast, I need to go get the chicken out. So here's a sneak peek at our shopping list. It almost never changes because everything here is fairly basic and you can do a lot with it. And as far as I'm concerned, no, you don't need to subscribe to like some place that does your meal planning for you and sends you recipes. Of course, you want to subscribe somewhere that mails you your groceries. I'm totally down with that. Anything that, keeps me from having to get out of the house, I'm good with. So, our shopping list usually consists of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 1 or 2 whole chickens, 2 if they're on sale, none if I have at least 1 in the freezer. Broccoli. Currently, I buy a lot of frozen vegetables because I don't have a lot of time to prep it for the freezer. Last summer, a friend of mine named Rebecca came across some guy that was selling corn out of the back of his van, which, if you live in the Midwest, really isn't all that unusual. and she bought these huge, like 10, 20 pound, huge bags of corn. And she brought one over and dropped it off to me. And I shucked corn and parboiled it for the freezer for fucking like 3 hours. And I ended up having to give some away. I had so much, but it was great because we had corn forever. Um, Cauliflower. Again, we tend to buy the frozen. I prefer to buy fresh because you can usually get it at a better deal, but again, I don't necessarily have the time to do it. Baby carrots, we don't buy a lot of frozen carrots, so I don't buy canned carrots either most of the time. People don't care for them. I bought some canned carrots this week because it was easier for Bull to use for meal prep. Fresh baby spinach. Usually it's just one bunch. So if you go to the store and you go to the produce section, in case you don't buy fresh spinach, you'll see that you'll see basically what amounts to a handful of spinach tied together with a giant, you know, the little twisty tie. So that's one bunch of spinach, and usually you can get it fairly cheap, and it's great. You know, salad, you can put it in your eggs, you can just whatever you want to do with it, it's fantastic. Strawberries, especially if they're on sale. Grapes, bananas, tomatoes, potatoes. Sometimes we buy russet, sometimes Yukon Gold. Lean pork, bacon, sausage. The bacon and sausage, I will buy one package of each usually, sometimes two on the sausage if it's on sale. Just, shove it in the freezer. Red lentils, black beans that are dried red beans, dried white beans, white rice, strawberry Pop-Tarts because I'm not going to do the food fight with the little one. I wouldn't do the food fight when my older two were little either. Just freaking give them a vitamin and go on with your life. It's really not worth the fight. Mine grew up fine. They're both over 6 foot tall. They're healthy. We're all good. So, just give them a vitamin. But I'm also really lucky because at least this one will eat vegetables and most fruits. Brussels sprouts. Usually the Brussels sprouts, again, whether I buy fresh or frozen, I prefer the frozen because they're faster to fix, but I will buy fresh Brussels sprouts if I have time to prep them, and of course if they're on sale. Eggs, we go through a lot of eggs, butter, juice. When we buy juice, it is 100% juice. There's no sugar added to it either, and tomato sauce. There's some other things that I left out. We do buy beef, but where we live in the Midwest, believe it or not, beef is expensive right now, so I typically buy beef when it's on sale. Chicken and pork are generally about half the price. I always keep chicken stock on hand. I usually keep beef stock on hand. So there's a lot of little things that I keep around. And of course, I'm also presuming that most people have fully stocked pantry / spice cabinet. So you know that you have flour, you have all of these other things. I do my grocery shopping at several stores. Now, that doesn't mean that I go to all the stores every single day or all on the same day. I go to Winco for bulk items because they're usually the cheapest, so that's my lentils and dried beans. I do not buy rice there. It is not as cheap there as it is in other places. Sprouts, that's usually where I go for fresh fruits and vegetables most of the time. Sometimes I'll go ahead and get my chicken there if it's on sale. I'm in Oklahoma. We have a store called Crust, so I go to Crust for chicken, most of my produce, and the other incidental items that I listed because they're cheapest. I also go to Dollar Tree, believe it or not, once a week for frozen vegetables, frozen fruits, and some other little things like the Dollar Tree near my house, they have little breakfast steaks, so I'll go buy those too. I go to the Walmart neighborhood market closest to me at a certain time during the day. For me, that's mid-morning. Again, I don't go every day. I go there when I know the meat and other stuff is being put on clearance. So I'll buy what we'll use and I take it home immediately and throw it in the freezer. So that one little thing though of knowing when and where to shop and buying healthier foods drastically cut our grocery bill. Like I said though, I know it's not always easy. Excuse me, I don't always have time to cook what I want. Of course, the secondary key to this is sticking to your budget and knowing what you need to buy. And like I said, I don't know if you have a stocked spice pantry, but we always have flour. We have regular flour, almond flour, soy flour, oat flour. I think I have a couple more up there that we've used once or twice. And before some dumbass says anything, yes, of course, we buy toiletries. They are essential. You could consider that your incidentals, or you could, whatever. But, I just wanted to point that out because people are stupid and like to make a fuss over nothing. I cannot emphasize enough, though, how important it is that you buy what you need before you need it. No, you do not need a freezer full of bologna. However, with the nature of freelancing, you'll eventually figure out when your slow periods are during the year, and you'll even get to where you can predict what you're going to make at other times during the year. So, figuring out when the slow periods are when you're freelancing is important because you know to stock up before that hits. So, you've got food, you always have everything you need. So, there you go. When I wrote this particular section, I thought it was more disorganized than it actually was, so that's always great. So, that's all I have for you today. Again, make sure as far as your business is concerned that you're practicing time management and self-discipline. Follow up, follow through. Always take action. The time in a day is going to pass whether you use it or not, or regardless of how you use it. When that time is gone, you cannot get it back. So make sure that you're using that time wisely. Questions, comments, concerns, hate mail, whatever. Pretty easy to find me on Twitter and Facebook both. And one of these days, maybe I'll be able to find my flash drive that has my intro and outro. Otherwise, obviously, it's time to get a new one. Again, my name is Robin Bull, and you can also find me on confessionsfromthecouch.com. Make sure you head over there and subscribe, and you can join 1,700, exactly 1,700 today, fans of the page, subscribers, whatever you want to call it, and, you can enjoy yourself too. I hope everyone has a fantastic day.